May I ask you to please rise for the singing of the national anthem by Brown University's very own Chatter Talks.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Welcome to Brown University's 2024 Veterans Day ceremony. My name is Mac Manning, and I serve as the director of the Office of Military Affiliated Students. It is also my honor to be today's Master of Ceremonies. While the history of this ceremony may feel a little short-lived given the change of venue often, as well as the change of size, Brown University holds a strong tradition of military service. Bretonians have served honorably and bravely in every branch, as well as every major U.S. conflict. Today we feel a world of polarization and global challenges, but I am steadfast in my personal belief that we as a nation are better off with Brown University graduates serving in the armed forces, and we are enriched as a culture by integrating prior and current service members into our academic communities. I'm eternally grateful to support some of the most impressive students, both current and former, that I've ever known, and my role at the university is one of the greatest honors I've yet to receive. Before we officially begin, I have a few thank yous I'd like to issue. First of all, thank you to Becky Schusner within the Office of Military Affiliated Students and Abby Dermaz of University Events. They've worked tirelessly to put this event together and several organizing, emails, arrangements, the whole nine yards. It's been a tremendous amount of work to get to this point. I'd also like to thank the ROTC cadre leaders that are here today, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Messer of the United States Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Knibe of the United States Army, and Commander Paul Gillette of the United States Navy. Thank each of you gentlemen, and thank you very much for taking very good care of my students. I'd also like to thank members of the Alumni Association, but particularly the Brown University Military Affiliated Community, and notably Larry and Allison Eichler, John and Pablo Sorensen, Ben Cassidy, who unfortunately could not be here this weekend, John Persecchio. They have also sponsored the social tonight, which explains why it's going to get a little rowdy, but we're really looking forward to that event, and we hope you all can join us. Some additional guests here today, of course, the Honorable Senator Jack Reed. Thank you, sir, for coming. We really appreciate the tremendous support you've always provided, as well as Director of Veterans Affairs for the State of Rhode Island, Kasim Yarn. Kasim Yarn, it's great to see you, sir. I'd also like to thank some of the leaders of the university community that have been tremendously supportive. Provost Frank Doyle, Executive Vice President Russell Carey, and Logan Powell, the Dean of Admissions, who's also my late night liaison texting buddy for veterans applications. Of course, I'd like to thank some of the Campus Life Center directors that are here today. They are my colleagues and they are tremendously supportive, and they've been texting me all morning, and we're really, really excited about this event. And of course, I'd also like to thank President Paxson personally. Her leadership, as well as the decision to establish the Veterans Initiative 5 years ago, has been tremendously impactful on today and the OMAS population as we know it. Underneath your leadership and Eric's, Estee's leadership, we have a lot to thank for where you stand, so I appreciate everything. And finally, I'd like to thank my wife for not going to labor 2 weeks early. so that I can be here today, because that would have been, we didn't have a great contingency plan, so thank you for that. Without further delay, I'd like to officially kick off the ceremony, so I'm going to invite the University Chaplain, Janet Cooper Nelson, to perform the invocation.
Will you rise? Draw near, O God, as we stand amid this company, names honored over centuries, carved in some of our stone and held in our hearts and our monuments, lives offered in the service of our nation, sons, daughters, brothers, fathers, all who with skill, commitment, and generosity chose a path of military engagement on behalf of their beloved nation. Hear our gratitude, simple in word, but deep in admiration for their aspirations and achievements gathered now in these ranks and among the many, too many, lost in their day of accomplishment. In circles of family and friendship now and across the generations, the sacrifice of those who served is multiplied in the grief of those they loved. They must soldier on in an absence they never wanted, and with a sense of vision and purpose that they hope we continue to hold clear. We remember them. We honor them. And today, in this commemoration in the Veterans Day season here at Brown, we say that their names, their lives, their loved ones will ever true be held dear and held close in honor by a grateful university family, cradled in a nation whose purpose of compassion, liberty, equity, and peace will ever and always be our calling and our blessing. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Janet. I will now move on to the swearing ceremony to swear in our newest contracted ROTC cadets. Introducing first, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Esser, Commanding Officer of the United States Air Force Detachment 340 ROTC program.
Good afternoon, Senator Reed, President Paxton, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the honor of administering the oath of office to my newest cadets in my detachment in front of all of you, the people of the nation that they're taking that oath to protect and defend. There are young women and men in my detachment here from all corners of our great republic. And I take pride in saying that there are still these young men and women willing to raise their right hand to protect and defend our great republic of the United States. So with that, cadets, I ask you to stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and I obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. All right. I would now like to welcome my compatriot over at Army, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Knibe, the Professor of Military Science at Providence College.
Senator Reed, President Paxton, distinguished guests, veterans, and friends, thank you for attending today's ceremony. For those of you who are worried today about our nation's future, I urge you to look no further than the remarkable young men and women you see before you today. While generations may differ, one truth has become crystal clear during my tenure here with ROTC. Our nation is in good hands. These 10 cadets, along with their 22 fellow Brown Army ROTC cadets, embody the best of our military tradition. They possess a profound sense of duty to give back, as thousands of others have done in uniform. A selfless desire to serve others whenever our nation calls, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. In a world fraught with challenges, these cadets have chosen a path of service and sacrifice. They have pledged to defend our Constitution, putting their own safety at risk to ensure the United States remains a beacon of freedom and courage. Today's oath is a proclamation to their commitment to serve. It's a promise that they will uphold the Constitution and lead others who choose to do the same. So without further ado, cadets, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the officers appointed over me according to regulation in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations.
It is my pleasure to introduce our first official speaker of this event, President Christina Paxson. President Paxson served as Brown University's 19th President and Professor of Economics and Public Policy since July 1st, 2012. Through her leadership, she has positioned the university to elevate academics, develop the physical campus space to support world-class education, and support the students, faculty, and staff who live and work at Brown. She has been a strong and enthusiastic supporter of our military-affiliated students, and under her leadership, Brown University established the Veterans Initiative in 2019. Please join me in welcoming President Christina Paxson.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks to all of you for being here today as we celebrate Veterans Day and honor in a special way the outstanding service of veterans associated with Brown University, everybody in our community. I need to begin by recognizing some people. So you'll shortly hear from keynote speaker Will Burrows, who's a proud Brown graduate and veteran, who's giving our speech. Senator Reed, thank you so much for coming today. We really value your engagement with everything we're doing here at Brown. Kasim Yarn, Rhode Island's Director of Veteran Affairs. And then, of course, our ROTC partners, who we already heard from. A few people who've been so important to our Veterans Initiative. Joan and Pablo Sorensen, who may not have been able to come today. Larry and Allison Eichler and John Paracchio, who are all really strong supporters of veterans at Brown. And then finally, Mac Manning, who he and his team just do a wonderful job overseeing the program and also organizing this event every year. So each Veterans Day, we gather to honor the outstanding service of our veterans and reflect on their contributions to the nation and to our Brown community. Our campus has a long and rich history with military service, dating back to the American Revolution. Since Brown was founded in 1764, our campus has educated scores of students who've received academic and military training before going on to serve their country, returning to college after military service to earn their degrees. That proud tradition continues today. And one thing I'm always struck by is how our military-affiliated students, they consistently exceed expectations, and how our community support for this group of students exceeds expectations as well. So 5 years ago, and Mac referred to this already, we announced a Veterans Initiative. And our goal, one of our goals, was to grow our student veteran population. We wanted to make Brown more accessible to veterans, and we wanted to expand our campus support for this very important student population. And we decided to launch this initiative both to honor the service of our veterans, as well as enhance the educational experience, not only for them, but for everybody else in our community. Because we know that for our Brown students, the ability to learn with, interact with students who have served in the military is really important in their own development. And I know that our veterans benefit from their perspectives as well. One of the pillars of that initiative was a goal, and it was a goal to double the enrollment of U.S. military veterans at Brown to reach 50 in 5 years. That was the goal. And here we are 5 years later, and I am ecstatic to say that we have exceeded that goal. Today, we have 58 undergraduate student veterans, and I'd like to ask all of them who are here, please stand for a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. I don't think there are 58 people standing, but there are classes going on today, so some of them may be busy. So the other thing that we did was 5 years ago, in order to make this happen, we set a goal of raising $25 million as a permanent endowment in support of need-blind admissions, full financial support for our student veterans. And thanks to the terrific generosity of the Brown community, we've exceeded that fundraising goal, and we've ensured support for current and future generations of student veterans. And this is really outstanding. This is overwhelming support. It demonstrates that Brown is a community that values our veterans. We want to see them succeed in this really exceptional educational environment, and we want them to go on to leave lives of usefulness and reputation and have an impact on our nation and the world. Now, today is about honoring veterans. But I also want to recognize our ROTC cadets who will go on to serve our country. They will be veterans someday. And I'm proud to say that this is a community where we've also seen exceptional growth alongside our student veterans. We have gone from fewer than 20 ROTC cadets in 2019 to 54 ROTC cadets today. These students are balancing the demanding requirements of training and preparation for military careers along with their Brown education. So can I please have all of our ROTC cadets stand for a round of applause? Thank you, thank you. Thanks for coming out today. So as our military-affiliated student community grows on campus, we're growing support for this student population. Just about a week ago, I visited our new expanded space in Alumni Hall where military-affiliated students can meet and gather and hang out, and Mac is there, the team is there. It's a really great space. And one thing I learned from them that really made me really proud was the commitment of our student veterans to mentor and support new veterans who are coming to campus, and also to help us get the word out that this is a great place for veterans to come. And they're doing a fantastic job, so they're really amazing. Our student veterans and our ROTC students together, our military-affiliated students, they just bring an incredible diversity of experience and perspective to Brown. But they all have one thing in common, even if they're very different from each other, and that is that they have or will pledge to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that pledge is as important today as it was hundreds of years ago. So on behalf of everyone who works and studies at Brown, let me thank our veterans for the work they've done, too often thanklessly, and to make everything else we do possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President Paxton. This time, I'm pleased to introduce you to our next speaker, Senator Jack Reed. Senator Reed graduated from West Point in 1971 and commissioned as an officer in the United States Army. He served in the 82nd Airborne Division as an infantry platoon leader, a company commander, and a battalion staff officer. He then returned to West Point as a Department of Social Sciences associate professor, where he taught economics, international relations. Over the course of his military career, he earned the Army Commendation Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, Ranger Tab, Senior Parachute Badge, and Expert Infantry Badge. After leaving the Army, Senator Reed continued his commitment to public service, serving in the Rhode Island State Senate, the U.S. House of Representatives, and is currently serving as the senior U.S. Senator from the state of Rhode Island. He sits currently as the Senate Arms Chair Committee, where he continues to champion veterans issues on a daily basis. Please join me in welcoming Senator Jack Reed.
Thank you very much, Mac, for that very kind introduction. And thanks to President Paxton, not only for her invitation to join with you today, but for her extraordinary leadership, particularly when it comes to veterans and ROTC and all of these elements that we're celebrating today. I also want to recognize Director Yarn of the Department of Veteran Affairs of the state of Rhode Island. Kasim, thank you. Let me also commend our featured speakers, Commander Will Burrows and Marine Corps veteran Emmanuel Colmenares. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. And let me thank the Reserve Officers Training Corps commanders, Lieutenant Colonel Neeb, Commander Gillett, and Lieutenant Colonel Messer. Thank you for your leadership, gentlemen. And finally, to my fellow veterans and service members in attendance, thank you for your service. In June, I was privileged to travel to Normandy to honor and thank the surviving soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who participated in the D-Day landing and who went on to liberate Europe 80 years ago. Now in their 90s or more, the youngest was 97 and the oldest was 109. And actually, they had more vitality than I had. So you can see why they battled their way all through Europe to victory. They were young men and some young women who went ashore and followed the troops ashore. And they did incredible things to literally save the world and to give us a chance to preserve a system of law, to stand for democracy and decency, and to take their example and apply it to our own lives. Selfless service to the nation. And Veterans Day is a day in which we honor these heroes, and we also recognize the sacrifices they've made and how we've benefited from them. Today, the student veterans and military-connected students here at Brown University share in that rich heritage. And I'm consistently impressed by Brown University students who have served who are currently serving in uniform. Whether they're cadets in the Reserve Officer Training Corps or veterans working towards a college degree, these students bring an impressive set of skills, diverse experiences, and exceptional value to the classroom and campus community. Brown is a great center for academic research and scholarship here in Rhode Island and nationally. And I'm pleased to see the continued work of President Paxton and her team to better engage and support students with military backgrounds and to create a supportive educational environment for Brown University students before, during, and after their military careers. Over the years, these efforts at Brown have been a shining example of honoring those who served not with words, but with deeds. Our veterans represent the best and brightest America has to offer. We owe our veterans a debt of gratitude, and it is important that we do everything in our power to ensure they have access to the services and support they have earned, let me emphasize earned, once they return to civilian life. One way we can keep up our end of the bargain is by making higher education accessible and attainable for veterans who choose to earn their degree or go back to school after military service. To the students in attendance today, I wish to offer my admiration as you focus on yet another impressive challenge in the next step in your journey, your education here at Brown University. I wish each and every one of you the best of luck as you continue on your educational journey and as you continue to inspire all of us to serve in our communities, to serve in a way that honors those who have worn the uniform of the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Reed. To introduce our keynote speaker, please welcome to the stage United States Marine Corps veteran, Brown University graduate, and member of the Brown University Military Affiliated Alumni Community, Tom Persico.
Good afternoon. Today, we are honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Commander Will Burrows, whose remarkable career and dedication to service exemplify the spirit of Veterans Day. Commander Burrows is currently an MBA candidate at Dartmouth's Tuck School of Business, further expanding his expertise and leadership. A proud alumnus of Brown University and the University of Notre Dame Law School, Commander Burrows joined the Navy JAG Corps in 2010 through the student program. Over his distinguished career, he has served in numerous impactful roles, beginning as a defense counsel and a legal assistance attorney at the Naval Legal Service Office Southwest, and later as a staff judge advocate aboard Amphibious Squadron 3. Commander Burrows' service spans pivotal assignments, including his role as Special U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois and as a Special Victim Trial Counsel. Notably, he supported Naval Special Warfare Development Group and most recently served as the Deputy Assistant for Legal and Legislative Matters for the Office of the Vice Chief of Naval Operations. Throughout his journey, Commander Burrows has not only exemplified the highest standards of military justice, but has also been a dedicated leader, mentor, and advocate within the Navy's legal community. His commitment to both service and personal growth is inspiring, and we're fortunate to have him with us today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Commander Will Burrows.
Almost dropped that. Thank you, President Paxson, Senator Reed, Mac, and the team at the Office of Military Affiliated Students for planning today's event. And once again, welcome to our distinguished guests in the front row and our Brown veterans and our future veterans, the ROTC students. When I arrived at Brown in the fall of 2001, I had no intention of joining the military. I was raised in a Marine Corps household in Yuma, Arizona. I made my bed every day with hospital corners, which some of you may be aware of, but my house was a little bit more extra. My father was a master gunnery sergeant, so I also had to wash our driveway every weekend with soap and water. Yep, a concrete driveway in Arizona with a mop and bucket. Attending Brown was about as far away from my dad and military as I could get after high school graduation. I still love him, don't worry. And that's what I wanted. I came to Brown to play football and experience something different. I still remember walking into my first class early in September 2001, wearing board shorts and flip-flops, and unintentionally receiving a lot of questions about where the beach was. It's not close. By my senior year, I was focused on my role as the captain of the football team, and the same week, heading into the Yale game, only focused on beating Yale and trying to have an undefeated streak in the Yale Bowl, which hopefully they'll repeat tomorrow. My time at Brown, especially my experience in the athletic department, played a pivotal role in my eventual decision to join the Navy. And this happened through deep connections I made while at Brown and nurtured as a Brown alumni. I was able to connect with my coaches, academic advisors, mentors, either in person or virtually, at every step of my career. When I graduated from Brown in 2005, I joined Teach for America, and I taught high school in Tolleson, Arizona. I never needed mentorship or support more than when I was in charge of 6 classes of high schoolers teaching biology, and they were quick to test the new teacher. When I finished teaching, I again came back to Brown and asked for advice about applying to law school. Coach Sheehan and Coach Rizzone convinced me to come back and coach a summer camp. And it was probably a great piece of mentorship to come back to campus and reconnect. I was able to sit down with our team academic advisor, Professor Dahlberg, at the faculty club and walk through a graduate school application plan. Throughout law school, the Brown Alumni Network was fundamental to my success in both my law school internships and my post-law school career in the Navy. In my first assignment as a judge advocate, it was another Brown student athlete who welcomed me into my first legal office in Naval Station San Diego. It's an honor to be back at College Hill. I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak with you today as we honor our veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. As I reflect back on these past 20 years, I think fondly about the connections I forged within the Brown community, and what I appreciate most is Brown's community's focus on service. It's through these connections, in context of this focus on service, that led me to serve for what was initially 4 years, similar to what you guys just agreed to, and has kept me on active duty for over 14 years. Since I'm still on active duty, here comes a disclaimer, as a Navy Judge Advocate, it is important that I inform you that the following opinions are my own and do not represent the views of the Department of the Navy, the Department of Defense, or the US government. Had to do that. In recognizing our Brown veterans, it is important to acknowledge what they have given in service to our country. We honor their service and their sacrifice, and we honor how much richer our veterans have made our community. Service and the earning of your veteran status comes in many forms. As we honor our veterans today, I encourage each of you to find time to learn about our Brown veterans and their respective experience in service. Make the connection to a fellow Brown alumni and make their service tangible. If you're searching for a conversation starter, and veterans, I apologize for giving this question, may I suggest ask them about their best or worst meal while they were in service? I'll start. My best experience was Thanksgiving aboard the USS Peleliu in the middle of the Pacific Ocean at sea. It was essentially a nonstop eating day. If you've never seen the Navy do holidays, you're truly missing out because, as you know, we have the best chefs. My worst experience, we can save this for after, it involves Africa, ants, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and a really long day. So if you want to hear that story, I'm happy to tell it later. Whether the service was at home here in the United States, abroad, at sea, or in any one of our many hazardous duty zones, each experience is unique and connects us to each other. These connections also add texture to the sacrifice and deepen what the veterans mean to each other. The Brown commitment to connecting people is right on the front page of the website. Brown brings students together in creative, unexpected ways. Pair this with a culture of service, and you are not surprised to acknowledge that Brown is a leader in higher education with the Veteran Admissions application. I always enjoy receiving updates from MAC and the Office of Military Affiliated Student Affairs, affiliated students, regarding new initiatives and support to strengthen our veterans community. I especially look forward to seeing who's going to win the golf tournament tomorrow. Seeing the progress that Brown's made as a community to support veterans and welcome veterans is encouraging. I recall having one classmate, he's here today, who was actively in ROTC while we were in undergrads. It was rare to see him in campus, let alone in uniform, and so to see an entire group here in uniform is inspiring. But as much has been accomplished in the area, the mission continues. Veterans Day is a time to honor our veterans, but also to remember our nation's commitment to the care for them and their families when they return home. To the veterans present today, thank you. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, your faith in our nation. Happy Veterans Day.
Our final speaker for today's ceremony will be our student speaker. Emmanuel Colmenares is a fourth-year student concentrating in Slavic studies. He served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps as a digital wideband systems maintainer. Prior to Brown, he earned an associate's degree from the University of Maryland Global Campus. Emmanuel is actively involved in the Resume Undergraduate Education Student Association, the Brown Student Vets of America Chapter Student Veterans Society, and the Browns Figure Skating Club. Please join me in welcoming the 2024 Veterans Day speaker, Emmanuel Colmenares.
Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Emmanuel Colmenares. I am honored to be speaking here today as a Marine, a son, a first-generation college student, and a soon-to-be Ivy League graduate. Today we gather here not just to remember, but to celebrate the sacrifices and service of veterans across our nation. Veterans Day is a poignant reminder of the individual journeys of those who have served, as well as the broader, interconnected support systems that help veterans thrive. It is essential to recognize the communities that uplift us, providing encouragement and strength during times of transition and change. As a first-generation college student, a Marine Corps veteran, and proud Hispanic American, I feel honored to share my story with all of you today. My story is not merely about personal growth, it is a testament to the incredible support I have received along the way, particularly from Brown University's veteran community. So allow me to introduce you all to who I am. Growing up on a small farm in Florida, my early years were shaped by the steadfast love and resilience of my family. As a small farm family with military roots, hard work and deep love for this nation was always a part of my life. I was raised by my mother and grandparents who came from Puerto Rico seeking a better life for our family. Like many Hispanic families, we faced our hardships, and it was through these challenges that our values were strengthened through unity. I often think back to my childhood when my family was constantly learning English, and I felt like this instilled a strong emphasis on education for me because I saw that my family was continuously learning to progress in life, no matter how much they struggled. Education was our priority. Even when resources were limited, my mother always reminded me. Reinforcing the belief that knowledge is a treasure that cannot be taken away and that I would never be limited by my background if I put in hard work and focus on my education. That I should be known by my character and intelligence rather than emphasizing my identity. That being said, growing up, I expressed my desire to attend an Ivy League school to my mother to show her how hard I was willing to work for education. She simply said, "One day, mijo," and leaving the opportunity open, but I mean, here I am. Throughout high school, it became apparent to my mother that academically attending a top-tier institution was a reality for me. And during my senior year, my mother waited with anticipation for me to discuss the Ivy League institutions that I was applying for. Unfortunately, much to her surprise, I decided to forego attending college and enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Sorry, Mom. In the military, I learned lessons about brotherhood and unity, principles that have left an indelible mark on my character. Teamwork became not just a concept by way of life. I discovered that when one person struggles, the entire unit steps up to rally around them, offering support and resilience in tough times. From the sandpits of Parris Island to the horrendously hot desert of 29 Palms, California, to the beautiful Okinawa, Japan, every step of the way, my brothers and sisters stood beside me, supporting me and offering their support every day. These experiences shaped my perspective on community and connection, reinforcing the idea that we are stronger together, that we are a community unified by similar struggles. Yet my journey was not without moments of doubt. I recall a senior leader who was disparaged by my ambitions to apply to an Ivy League university, labeling them as ridiculous and unattainable. Instead of disheartening me, I held his skepticism and I let it fuel my determination to succeed. It became a personal challenge for me to prove myself to others and show them that I was capable of reaching my goals and making my mom proud by keeping my promise to go to an Ivy League university, no matter how ambitious it seemed. Acceptance to Brown University was a landmark achievement, propelling me closer to independence and opening up new avenues for self-discovery. When I first arrived, my experiences on campus were a little mixed, if I'm speaking quite frank. Imagine for a second the rigid structure of the United States military where every single minute of the day is accounted for, and then you're thrown into the relative freedom to decide how to allocate my time and energy at Brown University. I say it's a similar feeling of that of jumping out of a plane without a parachute, and I've never done that, but I felt often out of place, and I found it difficult to disclose my veteran status in the beginning. I felt the typical imposter syndrome that I believe every non-traditional student feels when they first come here. I felt that it was challenging to voice my opinion among the predominantly traditional undergraduate population here. But over time, the community and unity fostered here at Brown encouraged me to become part of something bigger than myself again, like I was when I was in the Marine Corps. I notice all the students here are also unified by shared struggles and similar experiences. I felt that I began contributing to an institution that benefited from my and other veterans' experiences, ideas, and perspectives. My freshman year, from what was once a small, somewhat marginalized group of veterans, has flourished into an impressive network that fosters inclusion and support. In no small part due to President Paxson's decision to establish the Veterans Initiative. Thank you, President Paxson. The sense of community at Brown has enriched my experience, and it is encouraging to see veterans resume undergraduate education. Students like myself and transfer students are now embraced as integral members of this university. This growth reflects a broader cultural shift where our shared experiences are recognized, valued, and celebrated. I am particularly grateful for the dedicated staff members like Mac Manning, the director of OMAS, who has gone above and beyond to cultivate a family of veterans and veterans and military affiliated students here at Brown. The Office of Military Affiliated Students has created a welcoming environment where connection and mutual support are at the forefront of our community. We have formed an incredible network that empowers us to uplift one another, providing solidarity amidst the challenges we face. As I transform through my time here at Brown, so has our campus culture, and it has been nothing short of profound. At Brown, a heightened awareness of veterans issues has significantly contributed to an environment that is both diverse and welcoming. I am proud to share that Brown is now one of the top universities in the country for supporting veterans and active duty service members, setting an example of inclusivity. Today, I take pride in witnessing students engage with veterans' experiences, knowing that our voices are valued and our stories are respected. It gives me hope to see the thriving community that students and staff have built here, creating the sense of belonging and shared pride that I deeply cherish, equal to the pride I hold for having served my nation. Lastly, I just want to thank my mom for making me rewrite all those essays because I felt like that worked and it helped me get in here with my college application. And to my best friend, Karina, for helping me through my time here at Brown. You've been the biggest support. And on that note, I just want to end it with, together we honor the sacrifices of our veterans and celebrate the spirit of unity that binds us all. Let us continue to foster an environment where every story is heard, every voice is valued, and every veteran finds the support they need to thrive, like the support many veterans and I have received here at Brown. Thank you.